Hey YouTube, it's Penny. I have been shown the swastika several times in dreams and visions, and some of it I've previously shared. One time it was in a video that I had entitled Interpretation Please, where I had just thrown a bunch of stuff out there, and I got a lot of interpretations back on those dreams and visions, but not a lot of agreement, and I was really looking for the 2 or 3 witnesses for those. But anyway, I'm going to share one, and I'm looking over at my other computer screen over here, so hopefully that's not distracting to you. I'm going to share a dream back from November 3rd of 2013 that I shared in the Interpretation Please video to start this one off. So in that one, I dreamt of a game show that was a combination of Jeopardy with trivia questions and Wheel of Fortune with Pat and Vanna and a big game wheel, which is interesting because I just recently shared that whole hold on to your hat thing, and that was actually in real life with a Wheel of Fortune puzzle. It kind of reminded me of this one. Anyway, so because the show had been on the air for so long, someone expressed concern that they would run out of questions. Pat asked Vanna to show the people, the audience, how many questions had yet to be answered. The scene changed and I saw thousands of little trivia boxes filled with questions, like the Trivial Pursuit board game. These boxes were arranged in the shape of a spiral square. Pat asked Vanna how many questions they had gone through during the time the show had been on the air, and Vanna held up a box that was about 1/3 empty, so just one box, meaning that there were literally hundreds of thousands of questions yet to be answered, maybe millions. So I couldn't find an image similar to the spiral square that I saw in this dream, but it was like a connection of these 2 images. Well, in the response to the Interpretation Please video, somebody sent me this image, and look down in the lower right corner under the Greek symbol for the swastika, and that is most like what I saw in the dream of all the trivia boxes. Okay, on November 26th of 2013, I had a vision of a young man driving the president's car, like he'd taken it out for a joyride. So he thinks that he sees the president, who's in another car at this point. So he thinks the president has spotted him. So now he's trying to ditch the car, and he keeps making left turns, meaning that he ends up going in a counterclockwise circle. So 2 things. Upon waking, I remembered something about the president's car having a name, like how the Secret Service gives members of the First Family, code names. By the way, our current president is Renegade, which should come as a surprise to nobody. Anyway, so I looked up what the car is called, and it's called the Beast. So on February 24th, 2014, I saw a spinning swastika that appeared like a transponder sticker on a car windshield and received the word RPM. So I, believe that this has something to do with revolution. Now, does that mean like people rising up, political revolution? Does it mean the revolution of time? You know how Scripture says there's nothing new under the sun and things keep repeating in patterns? Is this like a cycle he's showing me? I'm not sure. The scripture that I received for that one is Jeremiah 7:23. But this thing commanded I them, saying, Obey my voice, and I will be your Elohiym, and ye shall be my people, and walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward, not forward. So to me, clockwise would be going forward, so counterclockwise is going backward. Okay, so July 24th, so recently, last month, I had a vision of a black cube that was balancing on one corner. there was a company logo on it that was similar to the capital letter E, except it had more teeth. Upon waking, I thought about that ancient stone. It's called the Kaaba, Kaaba. So that in Muslim in Mecca, where the Muslims pray. So this is actually it's in the center of the Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. So that's why I'm putting this together with that previous vision back from November of last year, because I hadn't shared a lot of that publicly, and so now he's bringing it to my remembrance again by giving me this next vision. So let's see. So this stone is called the Black Stone, and it's the eastern cornerstone of the Kaaba. It's revered by Muslims as an Islamic relic, which, according to their tradition, dates back to the time of Adam and Eve. The stone was venerated at the Kaaba in pre-Islamic pagan times. According to Islamic tradition, it was set intact into the Kaaba's wall by the Islamic prophet Muhammad in the year 605 AD, 5 years before his first revelation, supposedly. Okay, so then, since then, it has been broken into a number of fragments and is now cemented into a silver frame in the side of the Kaaba. Islamic tradition holds that it fell from heaven to show Adam and Eve where to build an altar. Although it has often been described as a meteorite, this hypothesis is now uncertain. Muslim pilgrims circle the Kaaba as part of the Hajj ritual. Many of them try, if possible, to stop and kiss the black stone, emulating the kiss that Islamic tradition records that it received from Muhammad. If they cannot reach it, they point to it on each of their 7 circuits around the Kaaba, which reminds me of when the Lord instructed the Israelites to walk around Jericho 7 times. So, all of this Islamic stuff is, I believe, a counterfeit. So, anyway, so here's a couple of pictures. The first one, this one is very similar to the black stone, black cube that I saw in the vision with the E on it. And then here's a picture of them walking counterclockwise around the black stone, black cube in Mecca. So it's interesting to note that at the dedication ceremony of the Ground Zero Memorial, they also walked counterclockwise around the area that was designated to eventually become one of the 2 black cubes commemorating where the Twin Towers once stood. And the kind of creepy thing about it is when they were walking, it kind of looked like the all-seeing eye. And here's a picture of the memorial as it stands now. There's 2. This is for one of the towers. I asked a few friends, including T, to help me research the logo that I had seen in the vision that was on the front of this black stone, black cube thing. Anyway, and one of them sent me a photo of the Enron logo that was in front of their former building in Houston, Texas. I immediately knew, bingo, this is it. This is what I was shown. David and I had actually purchased stock in Enron right before they went belly up, and so that's why the Lord is using this, because it's like, remember, Penny, when you lost money in that. And it wasn't a ton of money, but it was enough to, sting. So, so this building was purchased by Chevron for $340 million and is being leased to a global investment company called Blackstone. So, coincidence? I doubt it. Anyway, okay, so on July 25th, I saw 2 dials on a dashboard of a car, but they were stacked on top of one another instead of side by side, and they look like clocks. So here's, the whole idea of clocks again. And so I believe that he was pointing me back to the, when I had seen the swastika as a transponder on a car. So the fact that he showed me this black cube with this Enron-esque logo on it. Leads me to believe that there is some connection between black stone, this Islamic thing, this walking backwards, counterclockwise, and the fact that the Enron logo that I saw in the vision had more teeth to it would suggest to me that he's pointing us to an economic collapse of some sort that's going to have more teeth to it. And the Spirit's prompting me to remind you all about something else that I had shared. I'm not sure, I can't remember the video that I shared. I had 2 different dreams about shopping malls. In fact, one of my dreams I actually titled Dangerous Shopping Mall. And I think the reason he's connecting this is because the 9/11 was definitely something that precipitated a huge economic collapse. And we all know that there's a larger one coming. And recently, in the last month or so, there's a gentleman, a former CIA agent, his name is Dr. Jim Garrow, who has come out publicly, risking his reputation, everything, to report that there is intelligence to suggest that Islam is planning an orchestrated attack on shopping malls in America, like 100 malls, a huge thing. So I don't shop at shopping malls. I hate them. So, but I do know that that's where, predominantly women and children shop, and so it would make sense that our enemies would want to attack us there, and it would certainly have more teeth to it than something like the Enron collapse. So I'm just being prompted by the Spirit to remind you about the 2 dreams that I saw. I'll put a link in the description box. I'll go back and find that video because I can't remember the title of it right now. We already talked about that. So, okay guys, I had recorded this video and was waiting for David to review it. And that night he reviewed the last one that I put up about Marv. Well, I was tired and after working all day. So I went to the store to rent a video for us to watch because, sometimes you just, need a brain break from all of this. And I had remembered Tribulation Now, the radio show. Johnny Baptist had recommended the movie Shadow Recruit, based on the Tom Clancy character, Jack Ryan. And, David loves that kind of stuff, and so do I, quite honestly. So anyway, so I was like, oh, and that movie was for rent. So brought it home and popped it in. And, it's interesting because I don't know if you remember me sharing last October when the Father was giving me all that stuff about October and JFK and the October crisis. And David just said, The Hunt for Red October. And it was either that day or the next day that Tom Clancy died. And we were like, oh, what was that? Was that prophetic? What's the deal? And, nobody can prove it that I'm aware of, but there's a lot of speculation that Tom Clancy did not die of natural causes based on the stuff that he was revealing about government secrets and all that. Anyway, so in this movie Shadow Recruit, we're watching, and then all of a sudden the Jack Ryan character walks past this thing, and I was like, David, stop the movie. That's what I saw in my vision. Okay, so he had to go back, and how it's hard with DVDs to try to find it. Well, anyway, he found it, and I took this screenshot. Okay, it's so similar to the Enron logo. It's, it's the cube, basically, on its angle, the E with more teeth. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. It's basically, I'm confident that the Lord was pointing me to this. Not just Enron, not just the financial collapse of Enron, but using that to point to this larger, I had received one of the first words I received way back in 2012 was a well-coordinated evil attack. Like 9/11, only I knew that it was going to be bigger. And this movie is basically talking about the Russians planning this 2 things. One, a terrorist event in Manhattan, Wall Street, and then once that happens, then they would basically sell all of their investments, which is interesting because when I had the dream about Marv West that I just uploaded, and I said that when he walked into the room, everybody stopped talking. Well, totally, I was talking to David yesterday. I'm like, hey, that sounds like those E.F. Hutton commercials. And if you're too young, you might have to look those up. But, you know, when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens, right? Like, everybody stops talking and listens. Well, E.F. Hutton, if I'm not mistaken, was like a financial investment company of some sort. So I think that's why everybody stopped talking in my Marv West dream. Okay, so a well-coordinated evil attack that would have something to do with terror strikes in America. I believe that they will use sleeper cells in America to carry that out. And in this movie, it actually has a connection. Now, in the movie, the guy's Russian, but he's in Dearborn, Michigan. Hello. I mean, like the Islamic stronghold. I'm talking about Mecca. Muslim Mecca in the U.S. is Dearborn, Michigan. So anyway, so I believe that the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of a thing. So I don't necessarily think that the Russians and the Muslims are friends, but they're both enemies of the U.S., so they'll use one another, right? So, and all of this is just me kind of talking. So this is not, thus saith the Lord by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together here. And the fact that, I mean, I really almost fell over when I saw that in the movie. And then I texted a picture right away to a couple of my friends saying, oh my gosh, like, look what I just saw. I swear this is what I saw in my vision that I didn't understand at the time. But the rest of the movie goes on to use that E with like 5 teeth throughout the movie. And so, and if any of you, I did a quick internet search to try to like, what's the name of the company in the Shadow Recruit movie? And, is it a real company or not? I couldn't find anything. If you can, please, let me know. But so, okay, so I'm going to go back to finishing the video. I just had to put this in the middle of it, so, oh my goodness. He continues to warn us. He continues to warn us. I'm going to bring you the rest of that passage in Jeremiah. After it says that they walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, it's Egypt, unto this day, I have even sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they hearkened not unto me, nor inclined their ear, but hardened their neck. They did worse than their fathers. Therefore you shall speak all these words unto them, but they will not hearken unto you. You shall also call unto them, but they will not answer you. But you shall say unto them, This is a nation that obeys not the voice of Yahuah their Elohiym, nor receives correction. Truth is perished and is cut off from their mouth. Cut off your hair, O Yerushalayim, and cast it away, and take up a lamentation on high places, for Yahuah has rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Blessed are you, our Lord God, King of the